You know, I'm as surprised as a lot of you, and you may notice we're going basically without music here because nothing makes sense to me. We're not doing some happy music. We're not doing some peppy music. I didn't do the top of the show the way I normally do. It just doesn't seem right. And you know, I told you here a bit ago, I've got all of these sound bites from MSNBC and CNN and all this hateful garbage that happened, you know, things that were said after Charlie had been shot. And I can't bring myself to play it. I won't give these people the platform. They don't deserve it. They're hateful. They're awful. And I will not give, I'm canceling them. All right? They shot my friend. And I feel like they shot the Constitution. I do. I feel like they've taken and shot the First Amendment of the United States Constitution because, look, Charlie stood for a few things, and the same things that I stand for. Free speech, freedom to worship, freedom to assemble, and that America's the greatest country on earth with the greatest financial system and the greatest people and the greatest ability to get things done, all of that. My next guest is an influencer, good friend of mine he's become, Tim Young. More than 1 million people follow him every day, and for good reason. He was, I believe, out of the country. Tim, welcome to the program. I believe you were out of the country when this all happened, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I was back the day before. I actually had just gotten out of a meeting when I heard about what happened with Charlie, and I'm with you. I've been watching your show all morning, and I don't think it's hit me as hard as it should have yet, and it'll hit me at random when I'm walking around one of these days here pretty soon. But you know, he was a friend, and you don't grasp watching someone who you personally know get murdered on I mean, people sending me the video of it, and it's horrifying. And
Horrifying.
It doesn't, there are levels of this that I can't process yet. That being one. The other is I'm getting texts from random people I haven't seen in 6 to 8 months saying, "Hey, do you have security?" There are so many levels that peel back here that deal with folks like you and I and individuals. Because look, once the left, if they get a chance to take us out, they go after regular people too that they disagree with. I mean, this is
Well, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
You didn't hear this part, of course, but the day that it happened, my 20-year-old daughter, who was thrilled to meet Charlie here a few weeks ago. We were in Washington, D.C., and we walked into one of the studios of Real America's Voice, and he's in there, and she was a fan to begin with, and he was so accommodating and nice and that big smile, and he came out and took pictures. So she comes into the studio here with me and says, "I think you need to retire." The reason being is what you just said. Am I a target? Are you a target? She wonders if her dad's going to be shot. It's a fair question. Because we exercise an opinion that some crazy son of a bitch doesn't like. I mean, really. I mean, it breaks my heart that she even has to think that way. Right?
No, we're targets. I mean, you get death threats. I get death threats pretty regularly, especially when you touch the trans stuff. Those people are mentally ill. They're mentally ill. And you mention it. You talk about certain things in the aspects of that and how they shouldn't be transing kids and all these groomers and things in schools. And then all of a sudden your email blows up with death threats. It's common. You know, you don't think about it. I'm sure. I mean, Charlie obviously didn't think about it because he continued his journey and his path and stood up for what was right. I'm going to do the same. You'll do the same. But when threats have become a part of our industry, threats are a part of what we do. You just kind of, you don't think that it's ever going to be followed through on, but you conceal carry where you wouldn't normally conceal carry. I think everyone should, by the way, but you protect yourself. You have a head on a swivel regularly, and it's scary, but it's not, because you're almost numb to the threats that you get at some point. And I'm sure Charlie got thousands.
Yeah, well, you know, Anthony mentioned just before you came on, he said, you know, because the lady called and talked about drones and how that could secure these buildings like in Butler, Pennsylvania and so forth. And Anthony pointed out, look, Charlie trusted his life with God. He put his hands in, I mean, his faith is remarkable, and his faith put him out there. He knew he was a target. He got death threats all the time. And finally, somebody, stood, 200 yards back with a 30-06 and did the unthinkable. But I don't think he would change any of that because the conversations that he had changed lives. And I said this yesterday, and I bet you agree with this. More people heard Charlie Kirk speak yesterday than they did on any day that he was alive, because people went and looked and listened and pulled up clips and found out what he was all about. Charlie Kirk touched more people in death than he did in life. It's heartbreaking, but he will be heard.
There are levels of this that, like, I'll say this, and it's a conversation that's been had outside of his just being heard. That video, that horrifying video, has gone everywhere, and people on the left are seeing it and making a decision.
You're
And they're seeing people laugh and celebrate the death of a father, and like a good guy.
Yeah.
And here we go, Steve. It's hitting me. And they have to decide, like, are you pro murder or not? How do you stand for that? How do you stand for that as a human being? I have never once. I hate people on the left that I disagree with at times, but I don't want harm to come to them. I want them, to learn, what's right in the world. But there's a side of the left that now has to wake up, realize their side murders people for what they believe in. The Trump thing, when Trump was shot, that was an assassination attempt that was blown off very quickly. And even the Harpies on The View said, oh, maybe he didn't get hit by the bullet, blah, blah, blah. They said a lot of things. This is undeniable. This man was murdered in cold blood, and the left needs to wake up and make a decision. And I honestly, as horrifying as that video is, I hope that those people who truly said that they hate him and hate what we stand for, I hope they see that video, and I hope they're touched and they're horrified by how far that rhetoric has taken things.
I've seen a number of videos. Ivy was showing them to me, and so was my daughter. I never name my kids here, by the way. If people haven't figured that out, I never use their names on the program for that very reason. Ivy is here with me, and anyhow, so many videos of people making that decision, saying, I don't want to be any part of that. I don't want to be any part of these people that are making fun of a young man who's been murdered, a father, a husband, 31 years old. They've made the decision, Tim, and they're leaving in droves, I believe.
And it's young people. I saw videos on TikTok. I've seen, kids like singing hymns in public and in like kind of the hood. I saw a video of a guy posting about that. I think that's incredible. Charlie was a good guy.
He was. Like, he was a good dude.
Here, I know everything about everybody. Yeah.
Hold on. We got to do this. We have to do this thing that you don't have to do, a commercial. So hold on. Because Charlie was a good guy. We're going to talk about that. Tim Young with me, by the way. You can find him all over the place. Just look him up. He's pretty much everywhere. I'll take a break. We'll get to more of your phone calls. I apologize. 877-310-9966. It's Free for All Friday. Remembering Charlie Kirk. I've watched this video again. The guy jumping off are they telling me that the rifle is in the shirt? I can't. The video it's not close enough for me to really evaluate. It's like on a screen behind the guy. Anyhow, Tim Young is still here with me. We're going to get back to your phone calls here in a minute, but you knew Charlie. He would do anything for anybody. The first time I met him, I don't know, it's been a few years ago now. And somebody said, well, something about Charlie. And I said, I've never actually met him. Literally 5 minutes later, he sees me from 100 yards away. He beelines to tell me what a great job I do and how wonderful I am and how my show has done this and that. And I'm like, you're telling me this. You've got this thing you've created with 3,500 chapters around the country and, thousands of members. But he's effusive and telling me all these wonderful things about me, and I'm thinking, what a guy. He was just remarkable the first time I met him. We became friends, and I would see him on occasion when I was in D.C. working or whatever it would be. You'd run into him, or at Turning Point USA events. But you have the same stories. That's the thing. You mentioned in the break, you have dirt on everybody, just about.
Yeah.
Nothing on him. There's no dirt.
No, Charlie was one of the few actual good, honest Christian, stood up for all the values. At home, he was the same person at home as he was in front of the cameras, in front of the audiences. He lived the life that, like, you know where Charlie is right now. Like, there's no doubt that he is in heaven. Like, the guy is one of the best, kindest, God-fearing people I've seen in politics. And a lot of people talk about, I hate to pull back the curtain for your audience here, but a lot of folks who talk about God and put God first in politics or claim to are the worst people you'd ever meet. Charlie was not that. Charlie was absolutely, he lived the life that he preached, and we need more of him, and there just aren't. There aren't, and you talk about, I think one of the earlier people said who should take over for Turning Point. I know that's a conversation. By the way, before we even get there, I have to give credit to the Turning Point staff for putting together a memorial video for their friend. I can't imagine
what's that
having to send full clips.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, because they were all friends there. They're all close. Charlie he interacted with those people regularly. Like, they're
every
all
day.
like they're family.
Yeah, they were. So here's the question that was asked earlier, and I've been wondering the same thing. You can't let Turning Point USA die with Charlie.
Yeah.
But there's nobody like Charlie. There's nobody that can sit there. I mean, his brain works so fast, and he could cover so many different topics. I mean, I've never met anybody who can name right off the top of their head every book of the Bible and who wrote it and when, for example. I mean, it was a remarkable mind. But who can step up? That cannot be lost here, because if that happens, they win. They cannot win, Tim.
There's a short list, and I don't want to name them. We can talk about this. I don't think now's the time to talk about it. But there's a guy that comes to mind right off the top of my head who I think who ran Young Americans for Liberty and has won states for Trump. And there's only a few. It's got to be a short list, and obviously Tyler is doing a great job. But it's like 2 or 3 people max that can take that position, and then the question is, do you want it? I mean, like, there's just so much here. Like, Charlie was chosen by God, whether or not he would have. I think he would have said that, with humility, and whoever takes that place puts themselves literally in the line of fire, and God bless them, and there will never be another Charlie Kirk. And I can't believe, I did a radio interview right after everything happened, and I can't believe I'm memorializing a dude who's number one of the nicest people I've ever met, but 14 years younger than me, and it's just wild to me. It's wild where we are right now as a society in America.
18 years old, he started that thing, and he believed in it right from the beginning. I mean, we played that Turning Point clip. You saw that earlier, probably. About 4 minutes, and we'll play it. We're going to play it again today before the show's over, just because it's so good. And for people that don't know Charlie or don't know his background, it's really educational about where he came from and what he did and why he did it, because he believes in this country, he believes in God, he believes in the future, he believes in this document that sits on my desk every day, the Constitution. I'll give you the last word here, Tim. I know there's a lot to process, because I'm still, I don't know where I am. I've had tears on this program. I've had tears with my family. I'm angry. All of it.
I think everyone should get louder about what they believe in. I think everyone should get louder about their faith. I think everyone should get louder about family. I think that there was nothing that Charlie stood for that was bad. It was all good. It was everything that was great about America, loving our country, being a Christian nationalist. We're all Christian nationalists. You go to church, they loop us all in the same thing. I think what we do here now to honor his legacy is to do exactly what he wanted, which is what a lot of us do already, but to add some exclamation points to the end of it. Stand up for your faith. Stand up for your country. Stand up for the family, and be the best person you can be.
Amen. Tim Young, you can find him a variety of places. We'll be talking about this for a while. Tim, thank you for doing this. I know you're on jet lag, but I'm glad you're awake. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, well, it worked out very well. Thanks for having me.
All right, there you have it, everybody. Tim Young. I'll get back to your phone calls right after this. I appreciate the folks that have waited. I'll get to you. We're going to do it for the next 2 hours. We'll be taking phone calls all over the country. 877-310-9966. What are your thoughts? Where do we go from here? Can you believe that they gunned down a young man because he said something they didn't like or didn't agree with them politically? Left a widow and 2 orphan children, basically, because they didn't like what he had to say. God bless Charlie Kirk for having the courage to stand up in front of people, to take questions, to convince people that his arguments were better than theirs. God bless him for taking the chance to change people's minds. More phone calls after the break. It's the Steve Gruber Show.